Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.
Now, the summer holidays have arrived for thousands of teenagers around the country, and what better way to occupy the long days than with a good book. Our book blogger, Kim Hart, joins us with 5 suggestions for your summer reading list by both new and established authors. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
We have a lot to get through, so we'll go straight to it. The first one you've picked is for the age 12 and upwards.
Yes.
And it's The Last Minute by Eleanor Updale. Now, this is a kind of original, and it's got a very novel sort of premise.
Yes, it absolutely has. At 9:22 a.m, a devastating explosion rips through Heathwick High Street. And in this novel, we're getting snapshots of people going about their everyday lives in the minute before catastrophe. So there's a really big cast of characters. The whole novel takes place over the course of 1 minute. So you're seeing a group of school children. Yeah, 1 minute is the trajectory of the whole novel. So yeah, it's really remarkable in that sense. So you're seeing all of these different people, this very diverse cast of characters, and what they're up to in this minute before this explosion changes their lives.
How do you get to know the characters in a minute?
This is why it's so remarkable. She just gives snapshots. Each chapter is a second, essentially. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing a group of school kids and their disgruntled teacher on the way to a school trip. There's a politician in a car who's lied to his wife. He's told her that he's been at a conference when in fact he's with his mistress. And you're getting these sort of little bits of context of like what's happening at that point in their lives. It's an extraordinary novel. Fantastic. As I say, ages 12 plus. It's out in hardback now.
The Last Minute by Eleanor Updale. I think I see a movie somewhere in that book's future.
It would make a good one.
Ketchup Clouds by Annabel Pitcher, and this is for age 14
Age 14
and up.
plus, yeah. 15-year-old Zoe was involved with in a love triangle with 2 brothers. It's an ill-fated love triangle. It ends in disaster. She is harbouring a terrible secret and is wrapped with guilt, and she feels that she can't talk to anybody about this, so she starts writing letters to a convicted murderer on death row in the US. And his name is Stuart Harris. He's a silent party in the novel. You don't hear anything from him, but the more she writes to him, the more candid and the more intimate her writing becomes, and you get a great insight into sort of the betrayal and the deception and the guilt, and also into her family life, which is really quite complex.
This one, very profound and heavy subject matters for a mid-teenage book.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It explores some really sort of interesting issues. Really, really compelling read. It won the Waterstones Children's Fiction Prize, and deservedly so. Okay. The characters are really wrought with great kind of empathy and compassion.
It's ironic. The Ketchup Clouds by Annabel Pitcher sounds like a children's book, but very adult themes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, number 3, Heroic by Phil Earle. This is for 13-year-olds and upwards.
Yes, this was inspired by S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders and by stories that Phil Earle heard of young men returning from Afghanistan. It's about 2 brothers, Sonny and Jamie. They're from a pretty tough housing estate in northeast England. And there's a really strong bond between the brothers, but there's also kind of resentments and rivalry there as well. Jamie's the older of the 2. He's very dependable, very reliable. He's looked up to by everybody. Sonny is younger. He's quite roguish and gets into trouble quite a bit, which Jamie sort of bails him out of. Jamie then joins the army. He's dispatched to Afghanistan, and Sonny is very much in his shadow while he's away. And then when Jamie returns, he's a completely different person. He's very volatile, he's quite violent, and Sonny finds that he now has to sort of step up.
The roles are reversed.
Yeah, he has to step up and become sort of the step up and be the brother that Jamie has always been to him, essentially. So it's all about sort of brotherhood and sacrifice and loyalty, and it's a fantastic read.
Heroic by
Phil Earle.
Phil Earle. Number 4, Infinite Sky by C.J. Flood.
Yes.
And this is for age 13 again and up.
Yeah, this is a marvellous, it's a debut novel, it's a coming-of-age novel.
Would this be more male than female-oriented or female-oriented?
Probably more female. I'd say,
well,
I'd always say that, boys should and, can read these books too, but I'd say it's a female protagonist, so kind of maybe leaning a bit more towards girls. So 3 months after Iris's mother leaves the family, a family of gypsies set up in the paddock across from Iris's house. Her father he thinks they're trouble, and he's determined to have them evicted. Iris becomes sort of fascinated by watching this family work, especially in the absence of her own mother. And she strikes up this really lovely, very tender, quite innocent relationship with a boy around her own age in the family called Trick, short for Patrick.
Sorry, our library's falling down there. Go on, not to worry. The books are light, you won't be hurt.
So their relationship is really lovely, but sort of prejudices from people outside really threaten this relationship, and this becomes more sort of so when her older brother becomes involved with this really sort of dodgy crowd, and the tension really heightens at this point, and the consequences are quite dire.
I mean, this starts off with your mother leaving. I mean, a mother abandoning her family is a pretty devastating occurrence.
Absolutely.
It's
a really
bleaker.
emotional, really evocative novel. It's a fantastic sort of story about growing up and identity and family. Wonderful, wonderful read.
I'm not sure I'd be able for that stuff at 43, let alone at 13. But
Give
anyway,
it a
it's
go.
called The Infinite Sky by
Infinite
C.J.
Sky,
Flood.
C.J. Flood. It's out in paperback in July.
The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey is for 13 to 14-year-olds.
Yes, yes, and up. This is an epic end-of-time novel. It would be perfect for fans of the Hunger Games and books of that sort of ilk. It's about an alien invasion of Earth, but not the kind of green Martians and spaceship variety. This comes in waves. So the first wave is an electromagnetic pulse that wipes out computers and cars and planes and basically immobilises people. The second wave comes then, and the third wave follows that, the fourth wave, and it's basically whittling down people. There's tsunamis wiping out 3 billion people, a terrible pestilence that wipes out 4 billion people.
So they're sort of biblical in their nature, are they?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So the survivors, there are very few of them at this stage, know that the fifth wave is coming, but they don't know what to expect. And one of these survivors is this very tenacious teenage character called Cassie. She's lost her whole family, and she is basically in hiding. Safety is no longer in numbers. You can't trust anybody.
All right, listen, we're going to have to leave it at that, Kim, but that's the Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. We also mentioned The Infinite Sky by C.J. Flood, Heroic by Phil Earle, Ketchup Clouds by Annabel Pitcher, and The Last Minute by Eleanor Updale. Pick one.
Oh, you've got 3 months now, read them all.
Smart answer. That's why we have her. Now, our book club choice for June is The Herbalist by Nia Boyce, which focuses on an exotic visitor who changes the lives of 4 women in 1930s Ireland. If you'd like to be in with a chance of winning a 16-gig Versus tablet and a book club goodie bag, then send your reviews into us. Reviews should be no longer than 50 words and should reach us by Friday the 21st of June. And you can email them to irelandm@tv3.ie or send by post to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TV3 Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24.
Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.